Hey guys, so I wanted to give you an update. First, thank you so much for all of the support and love that you guys have showed me after my last video. Felt so nice to hear that so many of you could relate, have been through similar experiences with feeding your babies, and that I'm just not alone. Because I think when you're in it, it's so easy to feel so stressed because you think like, why is this an issue for me? It doesn't seem to be an issue for everyone else, but that's not the case. Thank you for sharing your experiences, because I know that that's a very vulnerable thing to do, and it means so much to me that you guys feel like you can be so open with me about some of your struggles and similar situations. So thank you. Thank you to everyone who left comments on that video, giving me advice, telling me your stories, and then also on Instagram. Just need to breathe, right? I need like a constant reminder. I need an alarm on my phone. Maybe I should set one that's just like every 5 minutes, breathe. There's also another snowstorm outside, so if you hear the plows, that's what that is. But the reason I want to jump on here was because I just sat down with a lactation consultant and a doctor to talk about what's going on and things I could do, and I want to share that because I know some of you are going through similar experiences, or if you're pregnant and find yourself in a similar experience once you have your baby, and just to give you an update on the whole situation and like what I'm going to do moving forward. So I gave the lactation consultant my full download, gave her the download, the DL, on what was going on, and both her and the doctor agreed that what they think happened was that this little guy had been slowly getting less and less milk since he was born, and the reason he seemed content or okay after his feedings was because he was becoming content with the smaller amounts of milk that he was getting. They don't think that it was that I was producing smaller amounts of milk. They think he was just not extracting as much milk, and that, you guys know, like with breastfeeding, it's this very it's gotta be this very symbiotic, I hope that's the right word, relationship where your baby has to be extracting enough milk to then tell your body to be producing more, and that needs to be like a constant cycle. And so they think at some point he just stopped extracting as much, like very slowly stopped extracting the milk that he needed, and so then my body started not producing enough milk, and like it just kept going back and forth until eventually he was just like getting very little milk out, and hence why he is in such a low percentile for weight. So that made me feel better just to hear an idea of how we got here, because my brain started rattling, thinking like, how did this happen? How did he not gain so much weight? How did I not see it? Like feeling guilty for not seeing it and being able to identify the issue sooner. But they said that it's really normal, and it's so insidious because it happens so slowly, and it's very hard to see that while it's happening, especially when you're recovering from giving birth, and when you have a toddler, and when you're doing a million other things. It's hard. And then, you know, if you have a baby who has a very mild temperament and who is content with these smaller amounts of feedings that they're getting, then small amounts of milk that they're getting during feedings, then it's not something that can be easily identified by anything other than weight. So the game plan is, they said the best route forward is to, for the next week or so, to have him sort of forget that he hates the boob, because that was something that I was saying, that like I'll try to get him onto my boob now after introducing the bottle to him. Oh, which I should totally tell you guys, because I haven't told you yet. So after that video, so many of you were like, just give him formula, just supplement, like who cares, like get over yourself, just give him formula. And that's what I started doing. So for the past, I think 3 days, 2 or 3 days, and you'll have to forgive, like, you guys know, I mean, you know, I don't need to like apologize to you guys, but you know, my brain is so, you know, all over the place and fuzzy. But yes, I started giving him formula, and I started pumping in the middle of the night. A lot of you had recommended power pumping at night. I've started doing that. I've started getting up 2 times during the night, like once 12:30, 1 a.m., and then another time around 4:35. And that's been great for like, and I've already noticed in the past like just a few days an increase in my supply. I'm still like taking all the supplements. I am eating oatmeal. I am drinking the body armor. I'm taking the little lactation milk. What this little supplement that I'm taking, the liquid gold. So I'm doing all of that, which is great. And I've really noticed that it has been helping my supply like ramp back up. So they said to continue doing that, and they know that it's not sustainable for the long term. They don't want me pumping every hour forever, because it's just, like I said, it's not sustainable. But to like ramp up my milk production, pumping every 90 minutes to 2 hours is fine. However, she said I need to not feel as stressed about it, which is exactly what you guys said. She said, don't feel as stressed about it. If you feel really stressed, you're not going to produce a lot of milk, and it's just this vicious cycle. And that's not like, it shouldn't be a ball and chain. You shouldn't feel like you are locked to your pump when your baby's crying or your toddler's running amok, or, you know, she said it should fit into the nooks and crannies of your life. And I really appreciated that, because for the past few days I have felt tethered to my pump and pumping any moment I can, and feeling guilty if I can't get to the pump. And so thank you to you guys who were all like, you need to relax. So yes, I started giving him formula. We've been ramping up the feedings, and that's exactly what the doctor and the lactation consultant said as well. I have been giving him about anywhere from 28 to 32 ounces a day, and she said that we should ramp that up as well, that most babies around his age will be eating upwards of 32 ounces, like 34 to 36 ounces, but especially because we're trying to get him to gain some weight, we should be focusing on giving him more, and that babies normally for a feeding will be getting anywhere from 6 to 7 ounces in a feeding. Babies who are trying to gain weight and are trying to catch up. They explained to me that I thought was really cool was, so a baby who hasn't been extracting a lot of milk, and thus like whose weight has been sort of at a standstill or been decreasing, they don't even sometimes realize that they're hungry until you start giving them a bottle and they start getting more. Because I had said that like, oh, ever since I started giving him the bottle, he won't take my boob now and will not latch on for anything. And they said, well, yeah, because he's getting more milk. And it's not that it's necessarily easier for him to extract milk from the bottle, but he knows that he will be getting a filling amount of milk from the bottle. And that has cued to his brain that like, oh, well, I want the bottle then. I don't want the boob, because all of a sudden now I feel hunger. I recognize that I've been so hungry, whereas I didn't realize that before. So I recognize, sorry, I know you guys are gonna be like, his head, his neck. He recognizes now how hungry he is, so he's going to want more. So now, especially as we've are introducing more and he's getting the bottle and getting formula and getting pump breast milk, to give him more because he's going to be hungry. So I need to focus on giving him 6 to 7 ounces during his feedings, feeding him until he is super content. They also said that like spitting up isn't necessarily a sign of being full, that for hungry babies, spitting up can sometimes just be a sign and a signal of being hungry, which I thought was really cool. I never heard that before. So the game plan is I will go into the office and meet with them in person in about 10 days. And until then, they told me not to offer him the breast, because we need him to sort of forget, which I thought was cool. We need him to forget that the breast is a stressful thing for him. Because right now he associates eating at the breast with it being super stressful and like him not getting enough, especially now that he knows what it feels like to be full. And they were able to identify on the call. The call was virtual. I don't think I mentioned that at the beginning. The call was virtual. One, because there's a snowstorm happening, but two, because of COVID. And I guess they want to like do like sort of virtual consultations before they bring in their clients. So they want me to, they were able to see on the call that like when I would bring him down to go on to my boob, that he would like get really tense and really upset and frustrated. And so they said we sort of need to do like a reset. So we are going to, she said, don't even try breastfeeding for the next 7 to 10 days. Just, you know, chill, just pump, just give him the bottle with either formula or pumped breast milk. Focus on giving him more milk. So focus on giving him 36 ounces or more, and just really filling him up. And then we'll focus on getting him back on your boob. And she saw and she was like, I don't think your nipples are inverted. That was something I was like, my nipples aren't, I use a nipple shield, I mentioned, and I think that they're inverted and flat. And she was like, I don't think they're inverted. So I'm really interested to go in person and for them to like really look at me and to look at our latch and work on our latch, because I have this feeling like that our latch was never really great, and that could have been contributing to his inability to like really extract some like good milk. They had also told me that before I pump or like while I'm pumping to like really massage my breast so that a lot of that like fatty breast milk can sort of like be broken up and can really come out and come down, so that he'll get some creamy milk. And yeah, I feel better. I feel better after talking to them. I feel better knowing that I have some support going forward and that I'll see them again in 10 days. They said that I could call the pediatrician at any time and have a weight check for him, so that made me feel good. And I'm sure like all these things are so basic and straightforward, but when you're in it, you guys know, like when you're in it, it feels so stressful and it feels so overwhelming. And it feels like you're doing it alone, which makes me circle back to just thanking you all again for all of your advice and your messages and your comments. And like, and it's because of you guys that I even like reached out and looked for a specialist and someone who could really help me. And just, and forgiving myself and knowing that it's okay and that breastfeeding isn't an all or nothing thing. Someone had actually tagged me in an Instagram post and it was like misconceptions or myths about breastfeeding, and one of them was that breastfeeding is all or nothing. And I freaking love that, because I didn't even realize that I was doing that to myself, that it was like an all or nothing thing, that my brain had sort of tricked me into thinking that like, okay, either I'm breastfeeding or I'm not, and if the second I have trouble, that means that I've just failed and that's it, you know? And I found that so comforting, because it makes so much sense. It makes so much sense. It's not an all or nothing thing. And as long as my mental health is in a good place, and as long as I want to breastfeed and I want to put in the time and the energy to pump and give him a bottle, then great, then like let's do it. And if not, then like giving formula is fine too. Like everything is fine. So thank you. So that's the update. That is the update. He is currently getting a mix of pumped breast milk and formula. I've been giving him the Similac Pro Advanced, but I just ordered the Kendamil, and should be getting that maybe sometime next week. I know with like all the weather issues that we're seeing, things have been like severely delayed, so we'll see. But I can talk about that more at a later date. I just wanted to give you guys that that download, and everything will be fine. Everything will be fine. I need to just keep saying that to myself. And yeah, thank you so much again. I am going to go. I'm so hungry. Yeah, another thing is like when you're breastfeeding, you need to be eating like a good amount in calories and all that good stuff. And like, Lord knows you okay, honey? Lord knows I have no time to eat, but I have to make time to eat. I have to make time to eat because I'm a human and I have to stay alive. And I need to keep this little guy well fed. And if I'm not well fed, he won't be well fed. So, all right. That's it. That's the update. I will give you guys more information when I have it, and I will see you next week. I love you all, and we'll see you soon. That's a little gooby. He looks chunkier since we've been giving him formula for like 3 days, and I've been pumping for, you know, almost a week now, and he looks a little chunkier, right? A little chunk. Okay.